out.
Okay. The meeting will come to order.
So if everyone can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's start with our introductions. Today we have Kevin Metcalf, Board Director, Wayne Staples, Board Vice President and CFO, Jackie Snedden, Board President, Jean Sandoval, Board Secretary. We also have Eric Czar, our Assistant General Manager. I'm Jerry Mupo, your General Manager. We also have Cindy Graves, our Activities Director, and Tad Creasy, Euclid's Division Manager. So good, we'll go ahead and start with a few announcements, and I only have a few. I'm sure you're all happy about that. So just a reminder, I did want to talk about the Lodge and Summit hours. As a reminder, the Lodge hours are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week unless otherwise posted. And the Summit hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week unless otherwise posted. I'm asking that the residents please don't ask the Lodge attendants for early entry or late stay. We've had a couple of those lately. So respect the hours. And then speeding. I've received a number of homeowner concerns that we're setting speed records from Crooked Creek to Four Seasons Circle and then from Four Seasons Circle up and over the hill. So just a reminder to observe all posted speed limit signs. We're communicating with the City of Beaumont Police Department to get some additional patrols in here. I would hate for somebody to have a ticket, so just observe all the posted speed signs. And then just an update, I did send out approximately 180 maintenance request letters to homeowners in Phase A, and that was to do some sort of painting, cleaning, or repairing of your homes. And I had a great response. Over 70% of the homeowners have already taken care of the concern. I do have 55 remaining. A fair majority of those are either in contract with a vendor or in the process of hiring a vendor. So I thank everybody for their quick response on that. And then last is Rec Center 3. The board did meet with KHOV-Nanian regarding the plans for Recreation Center 3. KHOV will be preparing their response to all the homeowner comments, and they will be displayed in the lodge in the next couple of weeks as soon as they're presented. Other than that, we'll go ahead and start our homeowner input. Just as a reminder, as a courtesy, make sure you silence your cell phones. I had an embarrassing moment in court the other day. I had forgot and almost went to jail. So just remember, we are limited to 3 minutes per homeowner, and only one request to speak form may be submitted per homeowner. There will be no sharing or passing of time to another person. Homeowner input may be held for a maximum period of 30 minutes before the board meeting begins to allow the board to proceed with the business portion of the meeting. This portion of the meeting is limited to board participation only. Residents are welcome and encouraged to stay for the full meeting to witness the business of the corporation taking place by your governing agents. I did receive a couple of homeowner input forms, and we'll start with Avi Green.
Different viewpoint. Everyone can hear me okay?
Yep.
Good. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Avi Green. I reside at 1570 Bloomington Park. Just prior to my attendance at today's meeting, I checked to see if there was any information listed in item 9A, committee appointments, resignations. There was none, which surprised me, as I have resigned from the Emergency Preparedness Committee. I will therefore read my letter of resignation and make one correction to it. This was addressed to Gary Sturdivant, Chair, EPC, July 30th, 2015. Dear Gary, please accept this note as my official resignation from the EPC effective immediately. I decided to take this step after the board meeting on July 9th, which is the correction. On my original letter it said June 2015. As you are aware, in that meeting, the HOA board told the committee to break the law by breaking and entering the 1528 building in order to access the EOC and the radio room in an emergency, rather than providing secure, keyless access. Subsequent discussions have led to a Rube Goldberg-type solution that still requires any of the committee members to break down a window door to gain access to the EOC after hours. This is untenable to me. I will not serve a board that is so intent on maintaining its own misguided rules that it feels itself above the law and can give its committee members permission to break it. I believe this action by the board to be unethical, illegal, and ultimately endangering the lives and safety of the committee and the residents of Four Seasons. I did not want to add to your burden and concerns prior to Margaret Vinci's presentation and held off in giving you my official resignation. I wish you and the committee the best of luck in dealing with an HOA board that is clearly not operating in the best interest of the residents. Sincerely.
Thank you.
Well, I don't usually comment on the homeowner input, but I would like to say I've been on the board almost 8 years now, and I have never made a decision that I didn't think was in the best interest of this entire community. And I just want to make sure that's on the table. Thank you.
I'll also respond to that, to his allegations of anything done that we would call as illegal. Let it be known that we did check with our attorney, and should the board give proper access and permission for someone to break into the building in the time of emergency, there is no illegal action on that in that way. The other thing is we are not going to give any resident in this community a key to any of the buildings in this community. It would be like giving your own home key to a neighbor that you don't know. We need to keep these facilities safe and intact and without any problems of illegal entry at that point in time. So we will not give any keys to any resident in this community. It's bad business practice, and it's a poor custodians of these facilities.
Okay, our next speaker is Tanya Guy.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanya Guy. I guess I'm short. I've lived in our community almost 10 years. I saw this beautiful lodge built. I have enjoyed playing cards in our beautiful card room for 9 years. The room has lovely carpet with comfortable tables and chairs. It is an asset to our community, and many of us do not wish to play in the new facility you are forcing us into. We have a gorgeous card room now, and the acoustics and comfort are wonderful. We have tried the old sales office and found it uncomfortable, hot, loud, and echoing if more than 2 tables are playing at the same time. I have come out of there with a headache after playing in that card room. So I did give it a fair trial. You have more than 50% of the card players unhappy, those in there and those out of there. Not to mention the domino players and most of the game players. I mean, it's a gorgeous room that we have now. We have a beautiful card room that everyone loves except for a few that want to change it. It would be a grave mistake to remove the carpet from the existing card room. It would ruin the looks of our beautiful lodge. Why spend money on something that everyone seems to be pleased with? If you are tired of cleaning the carpet, then put down no eating signs or no food permitted. But please don't ruin our existing card room by putting in tile floors and removing carpet. When something works well and everyone is happy, why change it? We have plenty of multi-purpose rooms in the old sales office that you just built. Why not use the old sales office? You need to take a survey of people who utilize this facility on all projects before you implement a change of any kind. You know, we are easy to live with. We're not hard to live with. We just want to have a say. And that's all I'm asking, is that you listen and don't remove the carpet in that beautiful card room. And let us use it as a card room. Thank you.
Yes.
I think, as everyone is probably well aware, we've now appointed the ad hoc committee for the interior renovation of this building and all. In that, they are now in the midst of gaining information and collecting information. You'll see a suggestion box that will be coming out here on the front desk area to collect information and questions and comments about what you would like to see done here in this lodge, which would include that room. There has been no final decision made about the card room here in the lodge. There's no final decision made on that.
Then why move us out?
There's no final decision on the kind of remodel that will be done there. We will have to look at the carpeting, whether new carpeting would be going in or the type of flooring, but that's going to be part of the collection of information from the residents that use this facility. So there will be some. And as far as the acoustics go in the other room, we recognize that there's a problem with the hard surfaces, with the windows, with the walls, with the floor. And we are beginning to address that right now and seeing what we can do to reduce or eliminate the problem with any of the echo effects. And as far as being too hot in there, it turned out that there was a return that was not installed properly. And that is being fixed. So as far as circulation in the room, that should be corrected in the not too distant future. Also, we'll be installing fans in there to promote more air circulation. So we are listening to the comments that we are receiving from people here in the community and addressing them. And I just want everyone to know that we do not ignore the comments received. I think you could look at the number of comments that we've received from the summit, and most everything has been addressed as we can. Some things not as quickly as others. But as far as the new building, this has been a shakedown cruise for that building to find out what works, what doesn't work, does this white switch work, does this, that, all work. And we want to say patience helps. And we like constructive criticism. We like to be made known that there is something that's not working as it should. And we will take steps to correct it so it becomes the place that you want to participate in activities. And it's not that we're taking the room away from anyone necessarily here in this building. It's that we have more and more and more activities going on every day, every week, every month. And we're trying to make spaces available to accommodate as much as we can. And moving some activities to the other building seems to have been working to take some of the stress off of this building at this time. So we still need to find out, work with what the flow of activity is, how best to address the use of all the rooms that we now have available. So it's a growth period that we're going through, it's a testing phase that we're going through. So we really ask for patience in this regard. Thank you.
Okay, that was all the homeowner input that I received. So we'll start with our consent calendar. And the purpose of the consent calendar is to make a single motion to approve all included items If for a particular reason an item needs to be discussed or pulled from the consent calendar, then a call to remove that item should be made by a board member. Currently, under the consent calendar, we have the July 9th, 2015 board meeting minutes. We also have approval of the June 2015 financial statements. There were no investments for the board to review. And there was one lien that needs to be approved. It's account BE 6310048801 in the amount of $1,109.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples, do I have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Jean Sandoval. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next item is our treasurer's report.
Yes, good afternoon. We just received the July financial reports. Our total assets as of the end of July were $7,100,000, of which $5 million of that is in reserves for future projects or things that need to be replaced, basically. Our total delinquencies were $44,500, and we have a $34,000 allowance for those. And out of that 44,000, excuse me, 12 homeowners make up 38,000 of that amount. Of those 12, we did receive, we had 13, by the way, and we did receive a payoff on one of the ones that we've been carrying for quite a while, and the payoff was over $10,000. So that really reduced our accounts receivable. The rest of them, the two larger ones, both of them are in the process, someplace of foreclosure. The banks have issued letters of default, but they haven't set dates yet for the actual foreclosure. And one is deceased. We have 3 on payment plans. And then there was one that Jerry, when she almost got sent to court yesterday, Monday, was a small claims action, and they've agreed to pay on a payment plan and to get that amount down. That's it.
Thank you, Wayne. All right, report on an executive session or actions taken between meetings. Prior to this meeting at 9 a.m., there was an executive session held. And during that meeting, there were 2 homeowners called to hearing for delinquent assessments. Both of those homeowners did pay in full, so those issues have been closed. Regarding liens or foreclosure actions, violation or member hearings, there were no foreclosure actions. The one lien was approved up in the consent calendar. There were 5 residents called to hearing. 3 of them were resolved. 2 of them remain unresolved. And so the board suspended privileges as well as assessed an enforcement fine. Under the contracts, there were no contracts up for renewal this month. And then regarding legal issues discussed, the board received legal opinions regarding gambling in the facilities and homeowner access to the facilities after hours. Other than that, we'll move on to our committee reports. Architectural Committee is there. We did receive the minutes from the Architectural Committee. Is Marcia or representative present? Bistro, Bill Taylor. Got a light crowd today. Communication. Gary with emergency preparedness. Thank you for being, oh, Fred.
Gary Sturtevant, the chairman of the Emergency Preparedness Committee, is out of town, and he asked me to come and give the committee report. Basically, the biggest thing we've had is the July 29th presentation by Margaret Vinci from Caltech on earthquake preparedness, and it was an extremely well-attended event and enlightening for those that attended, and about an hour and a half. And although we were budgeted $150, we only spent $4 to $7, so, and some change. So we'll give money back to the board. A rare event.
Thank you. Okay, is there a representative from finance? Not, we'll move on to Lynn with landscaping.
The irrigation report for the first half of our year, actually with the July billing, shows that against the base year, which is 2013, we're down 22% in usage. And if you look at last year, we're down 37%. So we're making good progress in reducing the amount of water we're using. But I want to talk really about something else. If you looked at the news today, they're talking about what they're seeing in terms of an El Nino. It's building up down by the equator, of the same size as the last big one, which was 1997. And in 97, this whole area was grassland and cow pies. Well, the grassland's gone. It's now asphalt, cement, and houses. And during that El Nino, they got 18 inches in 2 weeks. And if we get 18 inches in 2 weeks, we have some problems. A lot of the trees that have been planted in backyards and front yards and in the common area are now 10 years old. And we've watered them well, so they're really not deep-rooted. And we're going to have to do some really extensive trimming to make sure they don't lay over with the winds and the rainfall. So you'll see some real close cropping of the trees, and I certainly encourage all the homeowners who have let their trees run wild in their yards to do the same, because the soils here aren't going to support them if we get that kind of a storm system come through. So I pass it along, and thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. All right, our next committee is Rules and Regulations. Carol?
Hi. It's so weird to talk to you guys again. I just want to be here. Okay, the Rules and Regs Committee would like to let everyone know that we are not going to be pursuing a change in the voting procedures for the board members. Also, we looked at the guidelines again for the pool use, and some changes have been made, and we're still reviewing and doing that. We do take into everybody's, comments, considerations, and try to get them right. So hopefully, when they get sent out again, they'll be a little more receptive. That isn't even a word. Be received a little bit better by the homeowners. And please remember, everybody out here, that we do have to take an account of the overall use by all the residents, not just one or an individual group. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the board for being able to take that in their overall approach of everything. But they do remember that it's not just one person who's making a complaint. They have to take in everything. And we meet on the second Tuesday of the month in the boardroom, and everybody's welcome.
Thank you, Carol. All right, do we have a representative from Safety and Facilities? And I know social will be covered by Cindy Graves. And how about ad hoc lodge spa building interior renovation? We've had our first meeting, and our second meeting will be scheduled for August 17th at 1 p.m. And is there anybody from ad hoc technology? No report. All right. Going on to committee appointments and resignations on page 48 of the board packet. Colleen resigned from the ARC. Did you want to take each one independently or just?
They would be mostly just notification for us on this.
Great, okay. Page 49 and 50 is resignation from Avi from the EPC. And then on page 51 is the recommendation to appoint Richard Hoffman to the Landscape Committee.
First, I'd like to thank both Colleen and Avi for their service to the community and on these committees, and just to thank them for their time that they've given to us. And do I have a motion to approve the appointment of Richard Hoffman to the Landscape Committee?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, we did not receive any group or club applications or homeowner facility use requests, so we'll move on to our activities director report.
Okay. All right, let's see. Can you see me better over here or over here? Over here? Over here? Okay. Yeah, I'm getting finger pointing. Okay.
You're
Anyway.
bothering the camera guy, you know.
What? Oh, camera. Just to let you know, there is going to be a free show tomorrow night. Right? It is the 55, PG 55. You have to be at least 55 to come, just so you know. It's the PG 55 Twisted Cabaret show. And it's definitely going to be interesting. I think there are some things that are absolutely hilarious. There are some things that are questionable. But it is, if you're bored, come. And if you, and if you just want to see something interesting, you will see it there. You will so see it there. So we'll be having our wonderful stand back there doing sound. We have dancing, singing, actually some acts that are, the creativity on some of these things are hilarious. Oh my God, wait till you see a couple of these things, you will be blown away. And some unique things that you have never ever dreamed of seeing before. So, so I dare you to come. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be dinner theater seating. So it'll be the round tables. If you want, you can get your dinners at Smitty's and come sit and watch the show. No requirement. You're also You're also able to bring your favorite beverage if all you want to do is just have a social hour. You're welcome to do that while watching the show. But I have a feeling people will be talking about this one way or another for a long time. Yeah. So anyway, so I dare you to come. And again, that is
Cindy?
what?
It's open when?
6:30, 6 o'clock the door opens, but
No, 4.
It's 4.
is it 4?
4 o'clock, yeah.
Oh, I'm screwed up. Okay.
Starts at 6:30.
Oh, okay, thank you. Then I am right. The show starts at 6:30, but the doors open, I forget that, 4, right? Okay, all right, thank you. All right, next, you are going to get, if you're at that show, you're going to hear a little tiny teaser taste of a world-renowned Chinese pipa player. And this guy is off the charts. He is actually one of the best in the entire world as far as pipa players go. And they are, it's like a Chinese lute or guitar, and he's bringing another renowned classical guitarist as well. So I think it's going to be a really neat, it's a free concert that we have an opportunity because of our connections to hear. And that's going to be Saturday night before karaoke. And that's going to be here in the ballroom. It's from 5 to 6. We are going to go ahead and put out a donation location for anybody that feels inclined to donate to his endeavors. And we're hoping to maybe sent him back to Hong Kong, which he'll be leaving immediately after the show. Sent him back to Hong Kong with a little Four Seasons Goodwill offering. But it's a really neat opportunity. So if you enjoy classical music and would just be interested in hearing a concert with some unusual instruments, I think you'll really appreciate it. The classical guitarist is supposed to be off the charts too. So that a lot of Americans are more familiar with than a pipa maybe. But it's a good opportunity to become familiar with some other really neat instruments. So check it out. It should be really neat. Again, that is Saturday, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and then karaoke will be immediately following that. So if you're interested in staying for that, you're welcome to do that too. And then there's the amphitheater concert. This is just like big giant events all week. Amphitheater concert is going to be in the amphitheater. We've already put our request in, and so we're anticipating being there in the amphitheater. We're also asking for some coolness, contrary to the weather report. Stop it, Barbara. And yeah, and it's going to be Eli, and I never can say his last name correctly, but it's like Ezekiel. I don't know if I said that right, but in any case, he is an edgy, kind of rock sort of guy. A lot of people asked for him to return from last Halloween. So if you enjoyed, he is a very skilled musician. So if you enjoyed that or would enjoy that, enjoy kind of an edgier sound, come on down to Amphitheater. That's 7 o'clock. It should be getting cooler by then.
Yeah.
And bring your favorite beverage on that one, plastic cups or whatever, so that we don't have any glass breaking. And come on down, it'll be fun. Next, that's Sunday, you guys, that's Sunday. And then next, after that, keep in mind that we already did our lottery for our harvest fair, craft fair. And everybody got tables this year, which is really cool. We kept everybody down to one table, so everybody got a table. It's packed. It's going to be packed. So be sure that you tell your friends about it. We've got some really skilled crafts people, and it's going to be a blast. Of course, there's no admittance fee to come and enjoy it, but it will be open to the whole community at large, not just Beaumont. So get in when you can. The hours are 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that's Saturday, September 19th. So if you have friends that would really enjoy that, yeah, bring them on down. And then, as far as social committee goes, and talking about how Eli was such a huge hit last Halloween, social committee is getting ready for Fear Seasons dinner dance. Oh yeah. And that's going to be here in the ballroom. And you guys know how off the charts we did that. If you saw it, that RCN building last year. That was crazy. That was full-on spider webbing everywhere. That took days to put that scary thing together. And I'm here to tell you that it's going to be just as freaky in here for Halloween. And it's actually on Halloween this year. October 31st is on a Saturday. So I dare you to come to that. So be thinking about your scary outfit. And you're going to see some rockin' decorations for that one. Tickets for that go on sale on September 23rd. And as you know, social committee tickets have been flying out like hotcakes. So if you want to come, make sure you get in there early. It is going to be regular dinner table seating. So go ahead, and it's only $20 for a full dinner and a really creepy, fun night. So there you go. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Cindy. All right, moving on to management report in the board packet, pages 53 through 90 are the management updates and activity logs. Did the board have any questions regarding the items in the log? If not, page 91 is the summary of the correspondence log. And pages 92 through 147 are the communications. There were a couple of items for board review and consideration. The first one being on page 93. There was a request for a special fob to be installed on the gate between the spa building and the lodge for access for handicapped homeowners.
I think that particular request has been made before, and again, we can't really fob the gates because we need to control the access into our lodge grounds. But we will be installing a ADA door, the doors that go into the RCN 1528 building, and so that will probably assist people gaining access because the doors will open automatically.
Okay. Next, I think it was this gate, Jackie. They're talking about this one between the spa building.
They also said RCN.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right. Pages 95 to 96 is a request for different music in the spa building. And I asked, and we all asked for Eric to look and see what it would take to put maybe a Sirius radio receiver or whatever so we can have constant circulating, updated music.
Yes, please.
So we'll come back with some suggestions at the next meeting. Page 126, there was a request that some of the movies be played without subtitles. And so our recommendation is that the 11:30 showing be shown with subtitles and the others be shown without.
That should work.
Okay. Page 139 is pool scheduled activities and homeowner use. I think we're now growing to a size and people are using our amenities to where especially with the pool, this pool, when there's the aerobics, water aerobics going on, we have residents that are walking in between the class participants. And so there's been a request that we look at how to provide courteous use of the facility amenities.
I think they should go ahead and be referred to rules and regulations for review.
Okay, and then just for your review, page 143 is a summary of the summit suggestions. Many of those are the same suggestions, similar suggestions from last month that we are working on. And then pages 144 through 147 we did put the suggestion box up at the front desk, and we've received some recommendations there. So we're reviewing those to determine what we can do to accommodate the request. Other than that, we'll move on to old business. And our first item is on page 148 through 155. And this is the community guideline amendments. We did send those out for 30-day homeowner review. The summary, let me just get there. 148. The summary of the recommendations are in your packet. And so do we want to go through each independent rule?
I think the first one, yes, let's go through each one. On the first one, it was excuse me, we were looking at the creation of a rule regarding abiding by the drought-tolerant restrictions that may be presented by the Beaumont Cherry Valley Water District of the City of Beaumont. We've received many comments regarding this particular item and wondering, excuse me, why we would be putting this in, as it's a city code and should be followed, and is it really necessary to put it into our guidelines? And we were reviewing this and feel that the comments that were made have a very valid, they have valid reasoning behind why we should not put it in. And I think what we're more concerned with is that all the homeowners here look at those restrictions and try to abide by them the best of their ability. So I don't know, I don't feel it necessary to include this in our guidelines at this time. So I will ask to see if there is a motion to approve the amendment of our guidelines in the common area, page 10, item 22, regarding following stipulated guidelines set out by Beaumont Cherry Valley or the City of Beaumont. So moved. Oops, you don't have to.
I'm really screwing up today, guys, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I have a motion by Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second? Hearing no second, it fails for the lack of a second.
I got it.
Just a kind of a note on that. Some of you may have received or gotten a hold of the new restrictions that were adopted by the city or the water district this July 8th. And we've received a copy of that and found it very ambiguous and lacking in detail, and have actually, Jerry contacted and talked to the Beaumont Valley regarding the guidelines and what do they really mean. So we will be putting that information together and getting it to the residents and what it really means. But a quick synopsis, it really involves irrigation of turf and not your ornamental planters or your trees and shrubs. So that kind of will relieve some of us and the homeowners and all, that it's just the turf watering that they want only twice a week watering for those areas. And there were a couple of other areas that we're getting clarification on, and we'll provide that in a flyer or some sort to get to everyone who can understand that.
In the breeze it had.
The breeze article had to be, the breeze information that goes into the breeze has to be in before the July 8th meeting that the district had. And so at the July 8th meeting, they completely changed it. And actually they're requiring everyone in the city of Beaumont to water their lawns on Monday night after 8 p.m. to Tuesday morning 8 a.m. and Friday night 8 p.m. to Saturday morning 8 a.m. So everybody turns their water on at the same time. So we've asked and they said it's not going to be a problem. But we'll see.
Okay.
Anyway. Oh, yes. And also, if you're using non-potable water, you are not bound by the restrictions. And we are trying to clarify and confirm that we as an association, that they will be supplying us with non-potable water, not the recycled refined water that they'll be doing, but actually a version of non-potable water in our common area irrigation system. So if that is true, we will be exempt from the watering restrictions. So we'll wait and see how that works out. But I know Len will have a lot more information on that when that comes to fruition. Okay. All right, let's go forward.
Okay, the next rule is the pool spa rule, page 26 and 27. Item number 4, where it talks about there must be at least one adult resident or other adult to accompany and supervise each group of 3 or less children, removed guests under the age of 18. There is some other language there that was sent out. It was recommended by the homeowners and recommended by rules and regulations that the language be changed to state that there must be at least one adult. Remove the word resident and remove other adult. So it would say there must be at least one adult to accompany and supervise each group of 3 or less guests under the age of 18 years at all times within the confines of the lodge, pool, and pool spa area. The responsible adult must be capable of rendering emergency assistance. That was the recommended change.
And to clarify that, the reason it doesn't say adult resident is because our rules already establish that any guest must be accompanied by a resident of the community. So that would be more redundant information there. And the comments that had come in were the problem, well, I have 4 grandchildren, why can't I be the sole adult supervising them? And that was a valid question. What if I have 6 grandchildren or guests under 18 and I have my daughter with me or my son or something, can't they also be considered an adult present? And that was very valid points that were brought forward and comments on that. So Do I hear a motion to approve the wording as suggested, recommended by the Rules and Regulations Committee to state there must be at least one adult to accompany and supervise each group of 3 or less guests under 18 years of age at all times within the confines of the lodge, pool, and pool spa areas. The responsible adult must be capable of rendering emergency assistance.
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples, do I second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next is pool, spa, pool, item number 5. And it's recommended that the language state adults only may use the spa pools. The language adult guests may use the summit pool during open swim time. That will be moved under item number 7. So we're talking about item 5 would solely state adults only may use the spa pools.
Do I have a motion to approve the request to change item 5 to adults only may use the spa pools?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, on item number 7 for pool and spa pool rules, the language would state, and under the hours, the language would state the pool and spa pool areas are available from opening until closing hours of the lodge unless otherwise communicated and posted. Guests under 18 years of age are allowed in the lodge pool area between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. daily. Adult guests may use the summit pool during open swim time.
Do I have a motion to approve the wording as just stated by our general manager?
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples, do a second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
And the last item is regarding item number 16 that will add the language noodle tubes are allowed in the summit pool during open swim time or as part of an approved exercise class, and add the language to foam kickboards no larger than 12 inches by 24 inches by 2 inches used to aid swimming are permissible in the lodge pool except between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Foam kickboards no larger than the size specified used to aid swimming are permissible in the summit pool during open swim time or lap swimming.
I just want to say on this, what we're basically doing here is we had originally split out some of the summit pool rules from the lodge pool rules, and we realized that really just to consolidate, because we're really talking about facilities in whole and trying not to restate every rule for each facility and try to combine them together. Do I have a motion to approve the wording as just stated?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval, second by
Second.
Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right, the next item on the old business agenda is review and act upon architectural guideline amendments. And these were also sent out to homeowners for 30-day review. The board received the homeowner comments.
What page is that, please?
That is on pages 156. And shall we go through each of them independently, or?
I think these we could probably take together.
Okay. I don't recall any changes made to the recommendations.
And this, most of these were more to clarify. And,
That's correct.
Yes. We'll just run through them a little bit, I think, for everyone. One of the items had for landscaping for it had annuals as something that needed to be, it gave you the impression that you would have to put in an ARC request if you wanted to plant annuals. Well, that's not true. Annuals you can plant. This is in the front yard cost center area. The annuals you can plant without ARC approval, so the word annuals was removed. Also wanted to clarify that when the time actually starts for the ARC committee to complete the application process to get a response back to the applicant. And that is to say that once a complete application is received, periodically the committee will receive something that is lacking a lot of information, and so they can't make a decision on that, and so they really can't start the clock on making a decision. The other one is to put in place in writing the requirement of the minimum weight that artificial turf can be, which is 60 ounces. And so we wanted to put that in writing so it was easily accessible, information easily accessible to the homeowners. Wanted to also clarify on statuary and potted plants and things like that being placed in the front yard area, that it's, they can be allowable, but it still needs to remain in an uncluttered condition, which is already established in another portion of our guidelines, but we just wanted to incorporate it into the ARC where people would most likely be reading about it. We've had some changes in the types of models of homes here in the community, which now have golf cart garages, and requests have been coming through in order to straighten those, so we wanted to get that kind of information into the ARC guidelines. Also, something that happened because some of the homes that were built, that were homeowner responsible for the front yard, unfortunately, in some of those homes, a tree was planted on the property line. So we wanted to clarify that both homeowners had to be in agreement for that, any change to that planting. There's so much going on with solar now and adding solar panels to houses that we wanted to make sure that any of the equipment that belongs to that apparatus, that is either painted to match the house color, placed in an area that's not that visible, and so to keep it a clean look when those things are installed. Another was for gas fireplace. We wanted to make sure that we don't have wood fireplaces and fire pits in the community. They do need to be gas. Clarification on the location of flag poles. So that is generally what we did with the ARC review. So, do I have a motion to approve the changes as recommended by the Architectural Review Committee?
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples, do a second.
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
And the last item on old business is at the July 9th meeting, there was a request for the board to purchase a perpetual plaque for a specific group. And the board wanted to review what the current policy was for purchasing items for groups and clubs. And so this is up for board discussion.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the Activities Director and Domino's Group and to purchase a plaque, a perpetual plaque? Hearing no motion, I call it failed for the lack of a motion. I'd like to mention here what the discussion had been and had come to our attention. We have close to 70 groups and clubs in our community. And I felt that ultimately it's not the association's responsibility to provide individual commendations and medals and trophies and things for every single group that has activities of that nature. We will continue to do so for information like 4th of July when we have celebrations and special events that incorporate the clubs and groups and all their activities. What we will be looking at, and I'll put forward to the safety facilities, is looking at a possibility of acquiring a trophy case to hold trophies for a period of time, and maybe a plaque wall or something where these kinds of things can be displayed in the future. So up to that, but as far as the individual plaques and things, I think the tennis club already does their own thing. I think billiards are doing theirs at this time. So we'll put that forward to the groups if they feel strongly about getting those kind of things, that they take on that responsibility.
Okay, no further old business. We're going to go into new business, and I'm going to turn over the presentation to Eric.
So first up in new business on page 160 is a proposal from management to purchase 7 Android tablets for use by the committees. They'd use them in their meetings, would stay here on site. That way we're not having so many copies, especially for the architectural committee and other committees that have massive amounts of paperwork. Cost would not to exceed $1,800.
Do I have a motion to approve the proposal from management for the purchase of 7 tablets for use by committees in an amount of about $1,512?
I thought it said 1,800. You changed the amount.
I just hear it.
The estimated amount is $1,500, but if it's not the exact same tablet, if it's not on sale, that's why I recommended an $1,800 not to exceed.
Oh, okay. Change that to $1,800.
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples, do I second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next on page 164 is a recommendation from the Landscape Committee to convert turf at Dewey Creek from turf to plants to help save with the water shortage. Cost would be $1,358.
Do I have a motion to approve the proposal from the Landscape Committee for the conversion of Dewey's Creek area turf to plants in the amount of $1,358?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next on page 168 is another proposal from the Landscape Committee to do the same kind of conversion of turf at Lewis Creek and Four Seasons Circle. The cost at this location would be $13,857.20.
Would you give me that again, because it's not written?
Pages later.
It's two,
Oh,
yes.
it's 2 pages. Here we are.
Yeah, the cost is on page 170.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I have a motion to approve the proposal from the Landscape Committee for conversion of turf area at Lewis Creek and Four Seasons Circle to drought-tolerant plants in the amount of $13,857.70?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples, discussion? These are some of the things that we had brought forth, I think, as just more informational, that the Landscape Committee would be looking at areas in our community that could be do some turf removal and to bring it down and further reduce our water usage, along with trying to comply as best we can with drought-tolerant landscaping. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right, I'm going to take the next one, which is the reviewing and updating the facility use guidelines with the addition of our new facilities and reviewing our current guidelines. It was determined that we needed to update the section for facility use guidelines to include the summit and some of the new names of the rooms. And so on pages 171 through 175 are the recommended inclusions, which would include when it talks about the conference room, it's referring to the lodge conference room or lodge card room, summit lounge. It talks about the occupancy or the table seating for each of the rooms available for rent. And anytime it talks about, when it used to refer to the lodge, we're using the term facility because it could be either the summit, the lodge, or the 1528 building.
Do I have a motion to approve the proposal by rules and regulations for updating our facility use guidelines to incorporate the summit and other changes in our facilities?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples, discussion?
Yeah. Item 2, and this is on the revised one that was handed out. I think that should read, the facilities may be reserved up to 1 year in advance or no later than 48 hours before an event that cannot be reserved for 2 consecutive weeks.
So noted.
With the change, first, everyone in agreement, do I have an agreement for the change provided by, all in favor of the agreement with the change?
Yes?
Aye. Okay. With that change in mind, do I hear aye?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
All right, on page 176 is a proposal co-sponsored between the Activities Director and the Neighborhood Watch Group to have a national night out, which would be on Wednesday, September 9th at 5:30 p.m. The cost would be $250 for refreshments, paperware, tablecloths, etc.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the Activities Director with the co-sponsor of Neighborhood Watch for National Night Out to be held on September 5th with a cost involved of $250.
So moved.
I have a motion from Wayne Staples. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Jean Sandoval. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Clarification, it is on September 9th.
On September 9th?
In the packet, it's the 9th. When we received clarification from Anita, it is the 9th.
Oh, because it says here the 5th.
It does say the 5th in the packet.
Okay. And on the 9th.
Next is a proposal on page 177 from the Activities Director for a travel club fair on October 16th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. There is no cost involved.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the Activities Director for a travel club event on October 16th?
So moved.
A motion by Wayne Staples. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next on page 178 is a proposal from management to purchase 4 20-inch monitors for computers here at the offices. It would be a reserve expense. The estimated costs are $728.92.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from management for the purchase of 4 monitors in an amount of $728.92?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? Out of reserve. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next on page 180 is a proposal from management and the salon to purchase a new pedicure chair for the salon. This would be a reserve item. The price would be $4,995.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from management for the replacement of a pedicure spa chair for our salon for $4,995?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? This is reserved. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Would that be out of reserves, Jackie?
Yes, reserves.
Next is a proposal from management to purchase equipment, audiovisual equipment for the RCN building to be able to use that for meetings and presentations. Total cost would be $2,427.17.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from management for the purchase of audiovisual equipment for our RCN 1528 building in the amount of $2,427.17?
So moved.
I have a motion by Wayne Staples. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
And that concludes new business. The next open session of the board meeting will be Thursday, September 10th at 1 p.m. here in the Lodge Ballroom.
Do I, anything else? No? That is a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.